Hello, listeners, and welcome to The Full Story, a capstone project by Megan Vanelli. I'm your host, Megan Vanelli. These podcast episodes serve as the second half of my communications capstone project about the representations of women in mass media. This is the spoken, creative, and opinionated segment on social media and popular media. On each episode of The Full Story, I will have with me a few Gen Z guests, and we will be discussing an issue of female representation that affects our generation. This is episode 3, where we will be discussing dating apps with my first ever male guest. The background behind why I chose to do an episode on dating apps is because it's a huge part of Gen Z dating culture. These apps are viewed as an extension of social media and have millions of Gen Z users. Females are treated a certain way as the result of the objectifications that these apps promote, so it's an important topic to be brought into the light. I have with me today 2 new guests, so we can begin by having you both introduce yourselves. We'll start with Liz, and then we'll move on to Phil. If you both want to give me your names, even though I just said your names, your age, major, and dating apps that you use or are just familiar with in general, and then I'll do the same.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Sarkis. I'm 22, health science major, and I have used Tinder before. I'm familiar with other ones. I know friends who have like Hinge. And
what else
that
even
might be
is
all.
there? Yeah.
Bumble is
Bumble's
that
for friends.
Is Bumble for friends? I didn't know that. And then there's like the gay ones.
Oh, yes. Okay. Grindr.
Yep.
Grindr. Okay, whatever. Phil, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Phil Daniele. I'm a marketing major. The apps I've used in the past, I'm also 22 years old, and I've used Tinder in the past.
Okay, yeah. So I am familiar with Tinder. I've definitely used Tinder. I am now away from the dating scene as I find myself in a relationship. However, Hinge sort of came into the scene, I feel like very recently, like honestly within like the past year. But I feel like right now it's a little bit more popular than Tinder.
Yeah, I feel like Hinge was like for older people when it was first coming out. Like my brothers who are like 34, 29. Or 30, not 34.
Oh, okay.
Would be on Hinge, and I didn't know about it. And then people our age started getting it, I feel like, recently.
Yeah, because then there's also, like, we're not going to so much talk about this today, but, like, the older crowd, like, the middle-aged people use, like, the websites. They're not even apps. Match.com. Farmers, what's it called? The Farmers one?
Only.
I don't know. Okay, Phil is familiar with it.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm familiar with.
There's definitely another one. I don't know. There's definitely one for, like, older crowds. And then, of course, you have like the sugar daddy and the sugar baby sites. I don't know what any of those are called. Oh, seeking arrangements.
All right.
So we're going to more so talk today about the apps, the Tinder, the Hinge, not really Grindr, because that's not really something that we're familiar with in this crowd. Maybe a different sort of guest would be better to more inform opinions on that. But anyways, where I wanted to start today is the fact that these apps have that swiping and scrolling feature that makes them addicting, just like normal social media apps like TikTok and Instagram. Again, you have that like continual scroll that's totally a psychological thing that promotes you getting hooked on these apps, and they can make your screen time rocket. That brings me to my first conversation for us today, and my first question. Would you consider dating apps like Tinder and Hinge to be social media?
I feel like sometimes, like, if I'm super bored, I'll go on it. It's like, What is it called? Like positive, like...
A little psych thing.
Like it's like like a reward system.
Not instant gratification.
Yes. Like it's so fast. Like I don't even process what I'm looking at. Literally. Like I don't even really take it seriously.
Yeah.
Like so maybe in that sense it's kind of social media. Like I'm like, ooh, who am I looking at? But
I know. I feel like most people don't really take it completely seriously.
Yeah, not at all.
Do you think it's like social media, considered to be social media?
Yeah, I think that social media is a way for people to express themselves. And I think that dating apps, especially with being only like pictures and minimal information, I feel like that's a great way to express yourself. So I would say yes, that it would be a social media.
I think that they should be considered at least an extension of social media just because of the aspects of your profile. Name, not last name. So I guess in that way, maybe there's a little bit more privacy. Location, like you can tag your city, you can tag your school, your bio. I feel like the profiles on Hinge are a lot more extensive. Like you can do a voice memo, you can like basically post a conversation for people to message you and respond with. And I think another thing that really promotes it being at least an extension of social media is the fact that there's like the chat feature, which is, if any listeners aren't familiar with how it goes, basically, at least Tinder, I know Hinge is very similar, is that you swipe on people, you either swipe yes or you swipe no. And if they also swipe yes on you, it'll come up on your profile as a match, and then you can message them. But you can only message somebody that has liked you that you have also liked, if that makes sense. And then also there's something on the standard version of Tinder where you can super like them and sort of like skip that first level and go like kind of right into their feed. And there's only a limited number of super likes you can do, unless you update yourself to one of those premium versions, which would be money, Tinder Gold. I don't know what it's called on Hinge. Premium, which I think is kind of ridiculous. If I feel bad saying this, but if you're that down bad that you are paying for like premium versions of these dating apps, it's kind of sad. Because I don't think overall, do you think the apps are successful in pairing people with like solid long-term relationships?
I know that like Hinge, I feel like Hinge is more like is better than Tinder in that sense. I feel like people use Tinder as a joke and just to like say horrible things to people because you don't know them as much. I guess it's like social media in that way that like people are only portraying their like the best side of themselves, and like you're only putting surface level information out there. Obviously, it's like, non-smoker, drinker. This is my name. Here's my age, where I live, what school I go to. Like it's like, I don't know. So, but Hinge, I feel like you have more about the person. Like you actually want to go on dates with them. I do know success stories about Hinge from my personal life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not myself, but like my brother is with a girl he met on Hinge, and they've been with each other for like over a year. So like, I mean,
that's special to hear.
But he's older. Like again, maybe it's like the older crowd takes it more seriously.
Definitely.
Our generation's probably like.
Would you know what year he was born? Because I think Gen Z is like 1998.
He's a millennial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, 30 years from now.
Yeah, whatever. No quick math needed. Do you think that apps are successful, Phil, coming from maybe a different perspective than what Liz and I have?
I would honestly agree with you guys. I think that Tinder is a little bit more laid back, and just all the apps in general. I feel like when you don't have that face-to-face interaction, you can really say or do whatever.
Definitely.
Like I don't know what the right word is, like consequences of what you say.
I think it's just as fake as like other social media, because you can choose how you represent yourself.
Exactly.
Which, since we're already on the topic, let's dive into it. How do we think, and we can all answer the question rather than splitting it up, like people or women, we'll start with women. How do you think women choose to represent themselves on dating apps? I would say photo selection is really important.
Definitely.
Obviously, you want to have a lot of like solo shots. I feel like a lot of the times some girls can choose like more seductive photos, because sometimes a lot of, Gen Z dating culture is kind of an intense term, because I would more so classify it as like Gen Z hookup culture, because that's just the reality of, I feel like especially in the college age is more so hookup culture than dating culture. But I think a lot of people turn to these apps, not necessarily for relationships. So I would say, number one, a lot of women tend to do seductive photos. What else do we think? Like, as far as like photo selection,
show your face, like a face picture, and then like a body picture, and then maybe you want to throw in like a friend.
Yeah,
make
like
it look
silly,
like you like have friends. So I don't know what's appealing.
Do you agree with that? Because that's what you're seeing on your feed. Since you obviously on these apps you can select what you want to see, but Phil is seeing all these girls on his Tinder or his Hinge feed. Maybe we'll say, I don't want to, say that you are on these apps, but let's say hypothetically, do you see a trend in the photos that girls select to have on their profiles?
I'm not too sure if that's something that I really pay attention to, but if I feel like that front photo, or like the photo that's shown the most, is like a solo picture.
Yeah.
Because then like if it's a group photo, you don't really know who it is, I guess.
I agree. Sometimes people like circle themselves to be like, this is me. I actually appreciate that though, because then I'm not like trying to wonder which one is you.
Yeah. Phil, do you normally like scroll, like do you tab through, or do you only like really look at the first picture?
Honestly, I haven't really used the app in a long time, so I don't really know.
Yeah, you're a little rusty.
I'm a little bit rusty in that field, but I feel like it's just an addictive scrolling, so you're really not fully analyzing the photos.
That's so true. It's such a quick thing, like you were saying, instant gratification.
Yeah.
Right.
Spend like max like 10 seconds looking at somebody before you make a decision.
Not even.
That's kind of messed up because then you're really only going off of physical
Looks.
attractiveness.
I don't even look at the bios.
No, bye. It's
That's
face
why it's
first,
like
name
not real
second,
for
age.
me.
No, I know. It does feel like a video game. And then I would be like, when I used to be on Tinder and somebody would message me like, oh my God, what? I'm being like other people know I exist. Like I'm embarrassed that I'm like getting matches, whatever. Now let's talk about how we think men choose to portray themselves on these apps. You can put your height in. So let's talk about that. The height is always a lie.
Always. They add like 3 inches at least.
It's not real.
No.
So I would say a lot of boys, I feel like maybe girls do this too, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, I feel like a lot of boys on their dating apps will include photos with their attractive friends.
Yeah,
Like you don't.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I have also noticed that guys put pictures with like girls. Like if you're
Yeah,
trying
why?
to get another girl, why are you putting like someone who looks like your ex-girlfriend in a picture that
Or I don't like when
get
their
it.
mom is on the profile. Because, like, I don't know. That's, like, a very wholesome and great thing. So, like, maybe if you have your mom or family members on your profile, like, you should be looking for a long-term relationship, not just a hookup, because now why is your mom involved? And why do I know what your mom looks like? Maybe that's just me. So, once you've made, like, your 10-second decision about this person and you've matched or you've declined, whatever. Also, the app wants you to match with people. So it'll feed you people that have also liked you, which is good because, you know, the app wants some success, although it is a business and they can profit off our stupidity a little bit. The pickup lines are insane. Let's talk pickup lines. Liz, what's some of the crazy stuff you've heard? Again, we'll keep it semi-PG, but be honest, we can handle it. We're all Gen Z adults here.
Yeah, I feel like it's like 0 to 100. Like it's
agree.
either literally, hey, or it's something so inappropriate and like demeaning to women. And
Definitely.
I don't know if you want examples, but
You could do the pipe one that we
Okay.
were talking about before.
I got one once that was like having a great sale on laying pipe this weekend. And I was like, whoa.
That's crazy.
That was the first thing he said to me.
They're so
wasn't
bold.
Exactly. It wasn't like him saying hey and then me responding and then him saying that, which would still be out of line. It
Yeah.
was literally like the first thing he said to me.
And a lot of times men would not be confident enough to say something to you like that in public. However, I am going to tell an example from over the weekend of a man being so bold and saying something that I don't know how he looked all of us in the face and said. So our girl group frequents Barrett's Ale House in West Bridgewater. You know, we're a group of 9 girls going out and sitting at this booth at the bar, and a mutual guy friend sort of comes up and introduces this man to us that we don't know, but we have a mutual friend with. And so he sits down, he starts chatting, trying to get to know us. We say we go to Sonahill. He goes, oh, wow, this is a holy table. And then one of the girls is like, oh, yeah, we all live together. This man goes, and Phil, listen to this. He goes, oh, wow, you must all be synced.
Wait, I didn't even hear him
Like
say
our
that.
periods. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, synced.
Synced.
Oh, like SY.
Yeah, like all of your periods must be synced. And I literally just we all looked at him and were like, I was like, what actually possessed you to say that? So maybe he's an exception to the fact that he could say these bold things to people's faces. And mind you, it's one boy. Well, he had the mutual friend boy behind him, but like one boy saying this to 9 girls, like you're bold. You're so bold. So I don't even want to know what he like says on Tinder. But Phil, what are some pickup lines that maybe you have utilized / pickup lines in your toolbox? Let it rip.
Back in my Tinder days, I didn't really send out pickup lines.
You
That
just
really
said, hey?
wasn't my thing. Yeah, that was kind of the way to get
Did
Simple
you ever
man.
get
started.
pickup lines from women?
Yeah, but I can't really remember.
Do you have the app still downloaded?
Maybe.
Scroll through while we
Or I
keep
might-
talking.
Okay, wait.
No
I don't
pressure.
have it downloaded, but it's
Oh,
on my
okay.
phone, so I can download it.
Oh, okay. Would
It
all
might
the
not be
well,
there.
whatever. Because the one that I was thinking, this one is very PG, but I've heard it a bunch of times. How much does a polar bear weigh? What? How much does a polar bear weigh? I'm using this on them right now. How much does a polar bear weigh?
I don't know.
Enough to break the ice. Ba-dum-tsh.
That's horrible.
It's awful. It's awful, but I've heard it many a time. Liz, do you have the apps downloaded?
Yeah, let's look.
Some pickup lines that you could hit us with?
See, these are things that like would never be said in a face-to-face interaction.
No, exactly.
So it just, I don't know. That's why I like stayed away from it.
Yeah.
You know?
And for that to be the first thing that you say to someone, I don't mind the hey. I think it should start off with a hi, hello type thing before you jump into all this madness. It's actually crazy. But that's like the culture of these dating apps. Like you want to be bold and you want to stick out so that people, you know, respond to that and show that they're interested in.
Yeah, some of them aren't that bad. Like this guy just goes, Elizabeth, should we just get married? I never answered him.
Ooh, that's jumping in a little bit too strong, I would say.
Oh, hey you. I got that once.
Oh. Phil, are you seeing anything good yet?
Oh, what's up, Elizabeth? You should come over.
Oh, heavens. Yeah, no. That's way too bold.
See, that's very bold.
Bold.
I got something here, but it doesn't really make sense.
Let's hear it.
It's a regular day, a normal sunny afternoon. You're outdoors running errands or whatever. How many owls would you need to see before you got worried?
Owls?
What?
What does that even...
She's confused.
Is that a pickup line or is that's just a question?
Wait, what are you on?
Is it a riddle? No, it's
This
definitely
is
a riddle.
Tinder. It's a riddle.
There's weird people on Tinder.
Now I want to
Yeah,
know the
that's
answer, so
really,
respond to
really
her.
weird.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of weird people on Tinder because it's like the older crowd, but then at the same time, like I feel like Hinge is more so like Gen Z, but your brother's a little bit older, and if they were using it, maybe Gen Z / millennials, because on Tinder I feel like there's also like adult. Well, I won't say adult because technically we are adults and so we're millennials, but like middle age.
Well, I feel like I said, I feel like Hinge is more serious. I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I feel like people actually go on dates that result from like meeting people on Hinge.
I've just heard so many people recently, like some of our close friends and some of my teammates talking about Hinge. I'm like, Hinge just like seemingly came out of left field. Like I've been out of the game for a little bit now, but I think I would still know what's going on. So I was a little bit surprised by that. But anyways, let's move on to a topic that Alex and Kirsten and I discussed in episode 2 about photo editing, which would be catfishing. So obviously when you're making these dating profiles, you can be so particular in curating the roster of photos that you want everyone to see. I would say more times than not that some of the photos contain editing. And sometimes on the dating apps, like you can link your Instagram or whatever to your profile so that they can go and like see more of you. But again, like even if you're going to somebody's Instagram, they are controlling what's posted and shown on the Instagram. And usually there's some editing and those people don't look real. So I want to talk about the show Catfish on MTV. Have you guys seen that show?
I have not, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Phil, are you familiar with Catfish?
I've never seen it, but I am familiar with it.
I forget the names of the two guys it's 2 male hosts. They're just like filmmakers or, you know, TV guys on MTV. It's a little bit old. I don't think it's still running. But basically the whole sort of deal with the show is that you can enter yourself or somebody else to be a contestant on the show. Like you can like apply to be on the show. And these guys are kind of like super sleuths a little bit. They will basically look into like if you think you're getting catfished, they will look into the person being accused of being a catfish. They will look into their life and they will schedule a meetup between the two people. And it is never what the person says they are. Like one of them was like Katy Perry. Like somebody thought they were talking with like Katy Perry. And I, on my For You page, I get a lot of like police body cam like videos just because like, I don't know, I think those are so interesting to watch. Excuse me. There was a girl on literally on my For You page yesterday. She obviously had some like sort of mental health issues and she was staying at a shelter and she attacked the shelter manager like physically. So the police came. And she gets into the cop car and she's like, I need my phone. It's like a younger girl, like 18 years old. She's like, I need my phone. I need to like reach my boyfriend. I need to talk to my boyfriend. He lives in California. And she goes, he's Joshua Bassett, which is like an actor or something. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but I kind of had to like look him up. And she was like, he's real, I swear. Like without the cops even saying anything, she already started to like defend that it's actually him and not like a catfish. I was like, this poor girl who's already in a vulnerable state because she has some mental health issues is being catfished by probably some bum like Iowa thinking that she is talking to Joshua Bassett who lives in like LA and is like $1 million whatever.
Well, he's who Olivia Rodrigo wrote all those songs with. Yeah, that's how I know him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't know his name. Oh, you're a traitor.
Exactly.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And so now she thinks that she's like the rebound from Olivia Rodrigo.
And Sabrina Carpenter. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
the
gosh,
third.
yes.
Oh,
I'm
poor
working
girl.
late because
All right.
Anyways, I've been watching too much TikTok. That song's all over my For You page. So I would say it's so unfortunate that so many people get catfished and get taken advantage of. I know somebody in my life who got catfished, and the poor man went all the way to Russia to meet this woman. Turns out it was a whole scam. I think he like almost got attacked or something, and it was all for like money. Bless his heart. But like, don't be stupid, people. Literally, don't be stupid. Like, people will believe anything they see on social media to be real, and it's never real. So watch your back with these dating apps, which is going to segue into the idea of date safety. These dating apps, Hinge and Tinder, if we're sticking to the conversation, literally just normalizes meeting up with strangers. What happened to stranger danger? Everyone's meeting up with these strangers. I mean, not everyone. I feel like we said earlier, a lot of the times people are just on these apps because they feel like a video game and it's fun. But what are some ways that you can like investigate the person that you're going to meet up with before you meet up with them?
Well, I feel
Make
like
sure they're
an
legit.
obvious one is like FaceTiming. Like, I think that's also why like there's not a lot of success stories with like online dating, because how safe are you just meeting a random person that you like that might be catfishing you on these apps? So like, I don't know. I've never personally gone that far to try to like bag someone from a dating app. But if I were to, I'd probably like confirm that they're real through FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like, how can you really lie that? I mean,
what would you do as a man? Because you don't have to necessarily worry as much stereotypically about the danger aspect. I feel like a lot of times, again, if I'm talking about the like true crime on my For You page, you like there's a girl getting into an elevator with her Tinder date. Cut to the next day, her body's coming out in different parts and luggage. Did you see that?
I saw that. I like vomited.
Yep.
Horrible.
Like, that happens so much. Or people getting roofied.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Would you feel safe meeting up with a random girl that you meet on Tinder?
Well, I haven't done it personally, but I definitely agree with Liz. Like, talking to them either on the phone or preferably on FaceTime to actually see the person would definitely be beneficial.
For sure. I would be way too scared. Not to mention, like, a first date would just be scary in general, but also imagine, like, not knowing what they actually look like and trying to, like, find them.
Yeah. Weirdly, the only people who I've, like, progressed out of the app with have been, like, people I know through others.
Yes, but then you kindle the, you know, interaction. That's so true. I feel like because then you couldn't really classify that. Like, say that happened to be, like, a successful relationship or something. You wouldn't necessarily have to classify that as like, oh, you met on Tinder. Like, you already met them, but Tinder like brought you together. I've had some experiences like that too. Speaking of safety and self-defense, let's talk about my self-defense class. Phil, did you know that I'm taking a women's self-defense class? I almost said female and woman.
I did hear about that.
Yes. So listeners, if you were wanting to know, you remember Morgan Ganji and Tori Carullo from episode 1 about dating shows. The three of us are taking a RAD self-defense class. RAD stands for Rape, Aggression, and Defense. It is a female-only self-defense class. The only males who are allowed to be in the room or know about the RAD curriculum are police officers, which I think is maybe a little bit, maybe we should reevaluate that, because police officers tend to have a higher rate of domestic violence in their personal lives than people of other professions. And like health professionals. So I don't know exactly what that would entail.
Maybe like a position that like Keelan works in, like
something like that.
Mental health specialist, like where you might have to restrain a patient or something. Good insight.
And that's it. They even cover the windows when we're in there with trash bags.
Wow.
So it's a 4-week long course. Once a week on Mondays. They block us off from 7 to 10, but it's usually only like 8:30. And so on Monday, I have my, what do they call it? Simulation night. I have to like perform. No, not perform. You have
to like fight someone.
Yeah, 3 different attack scenarios. On the lieutenant of the Stonehill College Police Department, I have to fight him 3 times with pads. He wears full pads, I wear full pads, but I'm only allowed to use 80% of my strength. So I'm not going to go full force on him.
That's nice of you.
But I think that's really, and it's free with for Stonehill students. So if anyone is an underclassman and they're listening, I think it runs every semester. It's been so much fun. We learned blocks. We learned ground defense. We learned how to get out of chokeholds. We learned different strikes. We learned different kicks. We learned like we do like vocal commands, but that's like no, get back, whatever.
Oh.
I have beaten way off the track. However, it all comes back. So if I ever find myself on Tinder again and I decide to meet up with a whoozy, he's gonna, feel my wrath if anything goes south.
Totally.
So to wrap up,
They should be scared.
back to the main topic. They should be scared. Phil, are you scared?
I'm pretty scared.
Pretty scared. He's sitting so far away from me right now.
Yeah, he started
if this was
turning
a
the
video
chair.
podcast, he started to get uncomfortable with the topic of beaten up.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we feel as though, and we'll go around and everyone can talk, do we feel as though dating apps have positively or negatively affected Gen Z dating culture and expectations?
I would personally say that it has negatively affected it. I feel like you don't I don't know, it's very rare that you would go into a bar and someone would actually approach you because no one knows how to be social, I don't know, how to flirt with someone in person because as we know, all they're saying is this out-of-pocket stuff on the internet, on the social media apps, whatever, and don't know what to say in person because, how do you actually have Riz, if you will, in person without, trying to be inappropriate because that'd just be embarrassing on your part. So I feel like, yeah, it's definitely negatively affected it.
Riz King, what do you think? He's pissed.
I would have to agree. I think that not taking away the face-to-face interaction has definitely not done good things for Gen Z. Yeah.
And again, representations that people put out there for themselves. I would also agree that people don't represent themselves very well on social media apps.
Agreed.
Whether it be if we're talking more about the females, generally speaking, again, I'm not going to make a sweeping generalization about all girls, but you're choosing sometimes provocative photos, negative representation. You're, going to be objectified. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it. Obviously, people can post whatever they want and do whatever they want, wherever they want. But, the feedback that you're going to get from photos like that, it's not going to be a long-term relationship. And men, by responding to these representations with these horrific pickup lines straight off the bat, I think it's no good. I think we need to stay off these apps.
Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to the third episode of The Full Story with
Liz
and Phil
and your host, Megan Vanelli. We hope you enjoyed hearing our insight and opinions on dating apps and their dangers. Thank you for listening.